to do like a formal welcome. This is Kristaps Porzingis, as you all know. So we'll just do the jersey first and then get right to Q&A.
Right there.
Well,
there you go. There you go. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
So, Kristaps, just your thoughts for, when you first heard that the Celtics were interested. It's been reported that this was a team that you wanted to join.
Correct. Very excited when I first heard the news, and it was a pretty easy decision for me. Yeah, not much else to say.
Brad, is there any kind of extension or anything like that to announce? Is that something that's being worked on?
No, we'll have a chance to talk here in the next couple of days or next weeks or whatever it is. But, obviously we really like Kristaps. We want him here. We'll obviously have him next year and then hopefully beyond, but we'll see all that.
How excited are you about the possibilities with this group in terms of achieving those kind of goals? And where do you sort of see yourself fitting into what obviously is a team that's had a ton of success the past few years?
Yeah, exactly as you said. The opportunity to play for a really good team already, and to be able to add to that, and hopefully to help these guys make their life even easier. And just being on a high-level organization like Boston, historic franchise, iconic franchise, made it extremely easy for me to make that decision.
How much of the Celtics you got to see during the playoffs, and if so, what were your observations?
Honestly, not a lot. I saw maybe a couple of games of the Eastern Conference Finals. I was in a different time zone, but now I'm gonna have to look into it more. I'm gonna watch the games and it's postseason is always much more fun to see the adjustments for each game and things like that. So I'm gonna have to do some homework this summer for sure.
You played with Luka in Dallas, you played with Bradley Beal in Washington. What did you learn during those two stops about playing with other stars? Because you will be playing with Jalen, Jason here, and for Joe, how do you see Kristaps fitting in next to those two, given his high usage in other spots?
For me, yeah, as I said, I want to come here to make life easier for those guys. Hopefully with my skill set and my talent, I can take some pressure off of those guys. And that's it. I come here to try to make this team better. And I'm excited to play with such high-level guys that have been there from year to year, and have that experience already. So I think it could be a great combination.
With Kristaps coming in, that's a piece for us that we can implement into our system and our identity.
Choose to wear number 8 as a Celtic?
Honestly, it doesn't have much meaning behind it. It was just a couple numbers available, single-digit numbers. So it was between 4 and 8, and I just went with 8. And then the first part was something that Celtic fans doesn't know about me. Good question. I'm gonna have to think about that. We come back to this.
I'll ask it again in a few.
Cool. Yeah, my body also maturing and just getting to that age helped, and I believe I have some great high-level years ahead of me.
How motivating is it that the organization is bringing you in, viewing you as the piece that puts them over the top in their championship pursuit? How
motivating is that?
Correct.
Yeah, it's the most exciting feeling that you can get, just the idea of that, it's that's why, as I said, it just made it super easy, and it made my complete favorite option that was to come here to Boston. That fire that I got from that idea just is gonna gas me up for the rest of the summer and for my time being here. Why it didn't go so well in the playoffs, you're saying?
Yeah, and why do you think you'll be ready for it this time around?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be ready, who knows, but I'm gonna do everything I can to help this team. I'm gonna be yeah, I have a taste of it, right? I have a taste of it, and I know what it's like. The first playoff series were really good. Just didn't have luck, and second one was a different style, different kind. And each series is completely different. So I'm gonna have to be ready for any kind of scenario. And as the year goes along, it's, you know, we're gonna in the regular season we're gonna find that rhythm. We're gonna find, you know, that chemistry, and that's gonna carry us into the playoffs. So it's always like this. You're always evolving, and you're evolving as a basketball player also. So probably I'll be a much better player by 30 than I am now, you know. So I'm looking forward to keeping that growth and keep getting better as a basketball player.
Obviously, we want everybody that comes here to understand what the ultimate goal is, right? And everybody that is a part of this group to understand what the ultimate goal is, and that's to put all of our strengths together and try to win it all. And so every decision we make will be with that as kind of the North Star. I think that it's very obvious we've got a great core of players that people will want to play with and want to be around, and we just have to find accentuators, you know, people that accentuate that group. And we've talked about that in the past, and I thought last year's team, we had a lot of that. And I think you know, as we sit here right now with who we have under contract and what our, you know, potential avenues are, you know, I think we'll be able to have that again.
And how are you going to implement his unique ability to score in the post into what you guys do each night?
Get him the ball in the post. And, you know, obviously every year when you have a different team, you have to do things that, you know, play to the strengths of that team. And so the addition of, you know, Kristaps will help us, I think, on our post. It will help us against specific defenses that we may have had trouble with in the past and give us just a different look, which I think is important, you know, to continue to make these deep runs, is to be a dynamic team.
We had an option decision to make as part of this trade, and obviously there were a couple iterations of it. I was just curious what was sort of that night like for you as you were waiting for this to play out and see if you were going to wind up in Boston or not, and, you know, sort of what were the emotions like as that day went along and then when the trade got done?
Yeah. No, it was a crazy day for me. I was about to go to sleep, and then I heard the news that the trade didn't go through. So that kept me up for a little bit longer, but then by like 4 a.m. back home, I was like, okay, I'll go to sleep and see what happens. Wake up in the morning, and I saw that it happened, the trade happened, and I was just extremely excited and extremely happy.
You were with the team last year where obviously you demonstrated much more leadership last season. Can you guys talk about that issue, please?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You know, he was a very important piece of the locker room, to the city. And, you know, I think a strength of his was the ability to have an impact on and off the floor. And so that'll be missed. At the same time, we're bringing in Kristaps, who, from a personality standpoint, brings a lot of the same characteristics to where he works hard on the court, but he's also a guy that carries himself very well off the floor. And so I think that's important. And, you know, the most important thing in our locker room is that whoever's on our team, we have a group of guys that share the same values and wanting to win and wanting to do it together. And that's what we have to build upon. And like I said, Chris, it's important for us, for me really, when they're learning about our players, that they're just as good as basketball players and people. And so I think Kristaps will, you know, make our team better, but I think he'll make our locker room better as well.
Kristaps, you began your career in New York, obviously a high pick, a lot of pressure, kind of considered a cornerstone. How did that change you those years with the Knicks? How did that mature you? Did it mature you quickly, too quickly? What was that stretch like, and has that affected your career throughout your career?
Yeah, of course. You know, I got drafted to one of the biggest stages, if not the biggest, and I had to learn a lot quickly. But yeah, I mean, it prepared me for anything almost, you know, in the league, and now getting traded to Boston, it kind of made me realize how much I missed being in like on a big stage, you know, and that's not like Dallas was great, of course, and Washington was great also, but I feel like this is a different level, different level of excitement and how good the team is and all of that. So yeah, I think New York helped me tremendously growing up and being prepared for almost any situation that you can be in the NBA.
Guys like Jalen and Jason, I'm curious how having guys that can score like that will make life easier for you.
Yeah, no, definitely it will make it much easier. The same way last year, playing with Brad and Kuz, they helped me, but and same way Jason and Jalen, they're super high level guys. They're gonna pretty much have the whole team, the opposite team, all of their attention is gonna be on them, and that might make me offensively much more open. And I look forward to hopefully doing the same back to them and drawing some attention, as I said. So, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of time until we find that chemistry on the floor, and it's gonna be, it could be a very good mix for sure.
And we're trying to win, and we're going to try to do the best to put our best foot forward to do that. The required part of that is the right talent to build around it, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of talented players. Obviously, Kristaps is sitting up here. Jason and Jalen have been mentioned a ton. We've talked about Al and Rob. We haven't even mentioned Derek and Malcolm, right? And Peyton. We've got guys that are under contract here that are really, really good players. And so building a team around that all fits together in our best way we can is what we're trying to do. And so it's about winning.